All right, grown-ups, it's just our time. I love the babies, but to help you, I gotta speak my mind. This segment's here to help you grow with book reviews, lessons, and things you'll be glad to know. If your little one's restless or looking to play, send them to my other playlist. The read-alouds there will brighten their day. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Behind the Book, where honest reviews spark deeper, more meaningful conversations. I'm Erica M. Burrell, the teacher lady, your fairy godparent when it comes to sharing joyful and today truthful stories. Now, every week we have a new topic, and this week we're talking about Black history and culture and racism and slavery. We're talking about the differences and why they are not the same thing. If you need more insight to this topic, I recommend that you check out The Teacher Lady Speaks, which will air on Friday. It's how we close out our week, and it is basically a lesson plan. So I give you all the information I have as a seasoned educator to help you help your little, whether it's students, whether it's your child, or somebody in between. Now, before we hop into this review, I recommend you go check out the Read Aloud first if you have not done so. It will help to give you perspective, and it's up and ready for you to go watch. So pause this, go watch that, and then come right back here. Today's review is An American Story by Kwame Alexander, illustrated by Dare Coulter. And it's thick. It is thick. It is the hardest read aloud I've ever done, both on this channel and in my regular day life as an educator of who knows how many years. So today I'll be sharing my glows, the things that I really appreciated about the book, my grows, the things I think could have been done differently, who this book is for, how to utilize it as a tool and resource to have a meaningful conversation with your little, and so much more. I do want to start by saying you will notice my energy is lower in this video. This read aloud and behind the book segment were the heaviest. This has been the hardest read for me when it comes to children literacy ever. And hard is not bad. It's just hard. So what you're getting is my raw emotion. What you're getting is my exhaustion from what we have experienced. And I'm going to take you through the journey anyway. Welcome to Behind the Book, where we go beyond the pages to get to the heart of the story. The book is a children's book about slavery. It takes you through the process of a people being in their home and then being snatched and brought to this foreign land and forced to work under inhumane conditions. It is so visual, not only through the illustrations, but the words very clearly detail the experience as best as one could, given that so much has been erased. The summary is that it is a children's book about slavery, and it gives attention where attention needs to be due, both on the people who did the enslaving and the people who were victimized. The take-home message is that slavery was something that was so detrimental that there is no way to truly tell the story. And so throughout this book, Kwame consistently says, how do you tell the story? Let me read you a few excerpts. How do you tell a story that starts in Africa and ends in horror? An unbelievable story about evil plans and big guns hiding in the night. Waiting. How do you tell a story about strength and pride and refusing to be broken? There's so much nuance to this story, and the take-home message is that it happened. It happened. There were people who had a home, who had a village, culture, community, and history. They were kidnapped, they were abused, they were hurt. They rised. They grew, they laughed, they loved, they learned. It takes you through the journey of slavery. That is the take-home message of this book. That slavery is so harsh, there is really no words you can put to it but I'm going to do the best that I can. I appreciate that there is a section in this book where the teacher is speaking to her students, trying to get them to understand what slavery was and what happened. And she shut down and was pushed by another student to continue to tell the truth. And so the take home message is that we were harmed. We were harmed. We were hurt. It happened. It affects us. It impacted us. It was not light. It was very painful. And it is done in a way that I believe children can understand. Now, in terms of grade at age level, the recommended age level that I would put for this story is probably 7. Now, I say that with the caveat of if this is an introduction for them, this is their first time ever even hearing about slavery, I might go 8 years old. But the reason being is it is extremely vivid and clear on what took place. And so, more than age, I would ask where your child is in terms of understanding information. Where are they in terms of being able to explain that there is nothing that they can do, that it's done, and that at this point we need to figure out how to be better humans. We need to know how to move forward, how to treat people today. This book comes with a conversation. If your child is not able to hold a conversation, then I would wait till they are about 8. Now, if your child is 8 and they still cannot hold a conversation, I would introduce the book. And maybe you don't read the whole book cover to cover. Maybe you choose some pages, but it is so important to know and understand what this country has done to Black people. Not in a way that makes Black people look weak and harmed and frail, but in a way that shows our resistance, our rebellion, our uprising, that shines a necessary light where it is due. That is so difficult to do and experience. So this is less about age. My daughter is 7. She's read this book. It was a very hard read for her. It's going to be a hard read at any age if your child is any level of a humanitarian. But I would not wait too long. After 8 years old, that's it. That would be my cutoff. And now if your child, of course, is neurodivergent, if they have something that I'm not aware of because I'm talking to, however many viewers, you know your kid best. But what I don't want is for their first introduction of slavery to come from a space that doesn't adequately depict what happened and who it happened to, and attempt to answer the why behind it. So with that, I don't have a recommended age. I recommend you look at your child and see if this is something that you can start to have a conversation about. And you should have that conversation younger than older. So somewhere between 7 and 8, pick this up and start talking. Who should add this to their library? Everybody. Everybody needs to add this to their library. It is a history book. It's a history book. Slavery is American history. Yes, we have 4th of July fireworks and love eagles and star-spangled banners and football on Sunday. And that is not the only element and experience when it comes to America. So if you are American, get the book. If you think I've studied Black history, I've studied slavery, I get the book. If you think my child doesn't need to, get the book. If you think we're over, get the book. There is not a person that should not have this book. It's that simple. I've been in education at least 14 years. I'm now in educational leadership and I oversee a school. And the book was born out of the fact that Kwame, the author of the book, went to go have a conversation with his 4th grade child, their teacher. And the teacher was uncomfortable because she did not know, or they did not know, how to talk about slavery. It made them anxious. They did not know what to do, where to start, how to hold a conversation. So they freaked. If you've been watching me at any point in your life, you know that I constantly tell you how there are holes in our education system. This is one of them. Typically, when slavery is discussed, it's discussed in a way that demeans us, Black people. It's discussed in a way that takes over Black celebration, which is another book that we highlighted this week. What would the world be without Black people? Because we've been talking about the difference between celebrating Blackness and slavery and racism, why one is for us, why the other needs to shine a light on America. And you have educators who are responsible for teaching your kids who have not taught themselves. Get the book. This review is not that deep because it's extremely straight. Get the book. Okay, go listen to it and then go get it. Go get it. Glows. What I loved. In this case, what I appreciated. I appreciated the poetry of the writing. I am a spoken word artist myself. I'm a poet myself. And the writing inspired me to go write. Okay. And I actually did. When I did the read aloud, I stopped. I took 40 minutes. I wrote a poem. The poem is written as a way that makes you feel and makes you see before you get to the visuals. When I'm going through these books, what I'm really trying to figure out is if I take away all the hand chosen fonts, all the colors, if I take away the texture of the pages, if I take away the pictures, can I still figure out what is happening? Is the book written descriptive enough that I can close my eyes and I can feel and I can smell and I can hear and I can connect with what is being said on the pages? That's how I determine whether or not I consider something to be of value on this level. And the answer is absolutely. So that is one of my glows. My other glow is something that I connect with personally, and that is he took this experience talking to his child's educator, and then he made a resource, because if that is what his child is experiencing, if that is what that teacher is experiencing, they are not the only ones. And I can tell you, I can attest that is true. They are not the only ones. And this book I have purchased so many times. I have donated so many times because I understand that it is a pivotal place, such a valuable place to start having that heavy and uncomfortable conversation. And the last glow I would give Kwame is his patience and intentionality. And I want to highlight Dare Coulter, who was the illustrator of this book, because I've never seen anything like it. This book is mixed media, and I'm going to read this section so that I can better explain. The illustrations in this book are mixed media and were created with a combination of spray paint, acrylic paint, charcoal, graphite ink, and digital painting on wood panel and watercolor paper, and also used in Procreate and Adobe Photoshop. The sculptures are both ceramic and polymer clay with added materials and were painted with acrylic paint and spray paint. This book was edited. And then there's another section that said the process of making this book has taken nearly 6 years. The patience, the patience that these beautiful people have had to make sure that when it dropped as it was supposed to. The book was published in 2023. I just got my hands on it this year, and I've been running with it ever since. That is my third glow. Grows. I don't have any. The book did what it was supposed to do. I do not have a grow. I always tell y'all, if I don't have a grow, I don't go looking for a constructive criticism to be a better critic or reviewer or what have you. I'm an educator. I'm here to educate. I'm here to spread truth and light when it comes to literacy. There isn't a grow for me. Okay? All right. Discussion points to have with your child. After reading this story, can they explain what happened? What happened? What was slavery? Do you have any idea how it impacted those people? Or do you have any idea how it impacted us? You have a conversation that is held in care, that is held in patience, that is held in knowledge. So I recommend that you are equipped to have that conversation first. There is education that you need to receive as an educator or as a parent, potentially before even opening this book. But have it. Have the discussion of pain. Ask your child how they feel. Discuss how you feel. I remember reading this with my daughter and being like, my feelings are hurt. My feelings are so hurt. I feel so empty right now. I feel so confused. How does a country that claims to be a melting pot, that is supposed to be this land of the free for so many people, how is this part of the origin story? How? And you don't have to have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I got the degrees and the experience and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think anybody will ever have all the answers, but hold space and be able to hold space by doing a level of education and research yourself. Be uncomfortable. In the discussion, be uncomfortable. In the discussion, acknowledge your child's discomfort. It doesn't go away. The book was born because he went to go speak to his child's educator, and she could not hold the conversation without being uncomfortable. Teach your children to see Blackness, to see color, to see culture. Teach them history. You understand? So that discussion is one that should be ongoing. But to start with, where are you now? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? Discuss empathy, discuss impact, but discuss. Understand? Now, I will tell you with children, there are kind of two ways that this conversation typically goes, but I'm going to talk about the one that is most relevant because I do have a Teacher Lady Speaks episode airing on Friday where you can get more insight into this topic. But one of the things a student typically says is, but that was a long time ago. I've heard that multiple times, but that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. And what I often say to that is, do you think that it's so long ago that the people who are living today, that they don't feel and connect with that? And it wasn't that long ago. My grandmother's mother was enslaved. And whenever I tell my students that, they're like, what? Yeah, my grandmother, her mom, to be my great grandmother, she was enslaved. That's not that long ago. Even when slavery ended, the impact of slavery is still very much alive. That's not that long ago. The 13th Amendment is not that long ago. Racism, discrimination, the ending of DEI policies, the attack on Blackness, it's not that long ago. So maybe they loosened the chains or changed how they were put on, but this is still extremely relevant. Do you understand? And then they're like, yeah, I understand. And the next thing that I would do is I would make it clear in that conversation. And again, if you don't know how, I'm going to point you to the Teacher Lady Speaks because that's where I try to break things down. But I would make it clear that slavery is not where we celebrate Black culture and Black history. That this is American history done to Black people, that Black people became Black people because we were brought from all of these different countries in our continent and then created culture and made a new group of people because that's how the world works. So Black people means that we are from African descent, that we don't know exactly where, and that we've created a new culture and a new group within this country that has its own beauty, but is not originally where we're from. So explain slavery and racism and Black celebration and joy. They are not the same. We have read out louds on both of these books, reviews on both of these books, and I encourage you to continue to do the work and have the necessary conversation, because the history should not die. It happened and it should be acknowledged and it should be reconciled. Whew, that was heavy. The link to purchase your copy of this book is in the description below. This week, our topic is all about Black history and culture, it being rooted in celebration, and American history and slavery and racism, and why they are not the same thing. At the end of this week, we have a Teacher Lady Speaks episode where I will be going more in depth. So if you need more tools, check that out. Finally, as a long-time literacy advocate and specialist, I want to personally ask you to check out the Empathy Library, which is our pay it forward program. Essentially, you purchase books and they get given to the children that need them most, but come from backgrounds who are unable to afford them. It is the only program I've seen with such a straightforward process where we drop books where they need to be dropped. No nonsense, no extra steps, just straight impact. Thanks for watching, for growing with me, and for being part of this beautiful book-loving community. Kwame, thank you for allowing me to share. This has been Behind the Book, where we go beyond the pages to get to the heart of the story. Until next time, enjoy the moment or go be a joy in the moment. Bye.